this CD has the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto and the new concerto by Jennifer Higdon, who's an American composer who I've known since I was probably about 13 years old. I know Jennifer from Curtis, actually, the school that I went to, because she was newly graduated from that school, and right after she graduated, she started teaching a class, the 20th Century Music History class, and that's right about when I started taking it. I think I took it when I was 15, and she was probably one of my best academic teachers. Jennifer wrote this piece for me, and it's something that I premiered, and this is the world premiere recording. It's really nice to have something written for you. It completely changes how you view your own playing, in a way, because I know how I think I play, I know what I'm trying to do when I play, but I don't know what comes through to people. And when a composer writes, it's a very honest account of what they hear in your playing, because they're writing to what they perceive to be your strengths. And every time someone writes specifically for someone, their style alters just a little bit to cater to that person's playing. It's kind of like writing a role for an actor.
Hilary is an amazing musician. Well, first of all, everything she plays sounds like music. It doesn't matter what it is. She can do it. She can execute it, or she'll figure out a way to execute it. But she does it in such a way that it sounds very natural. Ideally, I think a performer needs to sound as if they're writing the work as they're performing it. There's also a certain element of magic that I think is probably not explainable, but it's just something that's there, and she definitely has that.
The Higdon it's kind of, in a way, it's a very standard style work in the structure, but in the musical language, it's unlike anything else that I've heard for violin and orchestra. So there are a lot of dissonances, but it doesn't sound like a dissonant piece. It sounds like a lush, somewhat romantic work. It's very rich, and there are a lot of notes at times, but when there are a lot of notes somehow in this piece, it acquires a stillness and a calm.
The final movement is called Fly Forward, and it moves at a very fast pace, so you have to imagine Hilary flying forward. I was writing this when we were approaching the Olympics in Beijing, and I suddenly one day had this image of Hilary running across the ticker tape at the end of a race. It shows off her incredible ability, fingers moving at high speed, really high speed, and her ability to maintain a rhythm even as you're moving through these different meters. She's incredible the way she can reach these extended intervals, quite staggering. I sometimes joke it seems like Hilary has 6 fingers.
The Tchaikovsky is something that I've been playing for a long time, but I took a big break from it for much of the time I've known the piece. I heard it a lot growing up, I learned it, and then I think right around the time I met Jennifer, I performed it for the first time, and then I put it to sleep for like 12 years or something. And I kept hearing it, and so I kept thinking I'd played it more recently, but I hadn't. And when I got back to it, I realized that it was a piece that it has such strong traditions of being played a certain way that it was an advantage for me to have taken a break, because I wasn't making so many decisions about what I was in the habit of playing versus what I wanted to do. I could actually start completely fresh with this piece that is so bound to the violin history. And that was actually, it was wonderful, because everything else in the standard repertoire that I've done continuously. And it was really sometimes challenging to define what's you and what you've been taught and what you've heard and what you really want to do versus what you just always have done. And being able to do the Tchaikovsky in that different way, come to it fresh and really reevaluate, almost starting over, while having had all this experience with this other repertoire, was really, I think, a good thing for me with that piece.
This is very well-known concerto and full of, I would say, earth emotions, and full of strong passions inside, and full of really easy understandable things. While Jennifer Concerto is more philosophical, more aerial, and music, in my point of view, the music should give the possibility for the audience to think about themselves, to think about the world. It's kind of reflect of the world, how many, about 120 years ago and now. So what's been in the minds and Tchaikovsky time, how relatively easy comparing to now, where relationship between the people, and how relatively easy was the world itself regarding the information, regarding the policy, regarding all the things, and how complex and how difficult it is now.
I wanted to put the Tchaikovsky with the Higden because I knew that, even though I hadn't heard the piece at the time, I knew that Jennifer's work would be substantial, and I knew that it would make a statement, and I knew that it would be very strong. So I wanted to put the piece by Jennifer with something that would also have a strong personality. And the way it turned out is the things about the Tchaikovsky that make it distinctive are very different from the things about Jennifer's work that make that distinctive, this particular concerto. But they very much flatter each other. So it's kind of this juxtaposition of similar works that are really, if you analyze them, complete polar opposites, but when you hear them, they really make sense together. So I got lucky that they wound up being a good combination.